Hi everyone, today is December 14th, 2019, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is GreenRanger, and this is quite a busy week we have in the Duel World. First off, the MiniBOX, Soul of Resurrection came out. A lot of zombie cards came out with it. We'll talk about Shiranui archetype, Assault Mode. Those are the two main things that were represented from the box. The nerfs went live, so now we have the full complement of dual skill and card limited list nerfs. So we'll talk about that and the new meta or the old meta, whatever way you want to see it. Duel Carnival, a couple new cards from that with the Jester archetype. Duel Quest gives us a card, and yeah, that's it. Most of the episode will be talking about the box, so we'll talk about that. And if there's time, we'll talk about Rex Goodwin's level up skills and cards. That's something I just put off for another week. We will see if there's time to put it off for another week. We'll see. So, in Duel World, I declare that I'm officially screwed over in PvP for a few reasons. I was playing the basic invoked deck, which got nerfed because they rely on concentrated current a ton, with Magellanica being put on that list. So what you do easily is you switch over to another invoked deck since they're still quite good. The problem with me is I still don't have Purgatrio. It is buried in a box, so I only have one copy yet. And if I, focus on one thing, maybe I would get Purgatrio, but then this new box came out, and I think I bought through half of this new box, so I can't even play anything from the new box. I was just trying to start collecting cards, so I officially have nothing to play. It's kind of frustrating that it went this way, and if I had saved up gems, I could have just skipped over the whole invoked thing. That was really a way I spent all my money. Could play the Element Saber invoked. I do have those cards, but the problem with it is I have no Purgatrio, so again, the deck can't really have its full potential with just one copy of Magellanica, one copy of Coxitus, and then no Purgatrio, and then you just use one semi-limited card, so it's severely underpowered for such a slow deck, and it is a very slow deck. I personally like playing a faster deck, and that Element Saber deck is too control for me, I think. So what I did is I switched over to Fortune Ladies. There's this new version. They just run one card that wasn't played before, and that's Fortune Lady Rewind. So it's actually a pretty solid card now that I think about it, but it involves Fortune Lady Past doing some banish work first, and then you get to bring two monsters back, and then at the end phase, they get sent back to your deck. So there are certain games that have gone on very long, and that helps you refill. And typically you just do that play to get a synchro out. You get your materials back to synchro. That's the whole point of Fortune Lady Rewind. But anyways, with this deck, I am in Legend 3, so I went up 2 ranks. This deck isn't doing too bad. It's doing better than that counter version that I was using before. And on a personal note, I turned 30 years old yesterday, as I mentioned on Twitter, so I was able to celebrate that. And yep, that's it. So, Esports Duel Links Meta Weekly number 20. This is the only tournament we're going to talk about in the interest of time again. So nerfs seem to work. Almost every invoked deck is the Element Saber version. There's 19 Element Sabers, 1 Kawaki Meru deck, and 1 pure invoked deck that was still floating around. Otherwise, Black Wings are a close second, Dark Lords are a close third, and there's a little bit of everything else. Shiranui didn't really make it. They made 1 in the top 32. Only won 3 the whole tournament, so that deck is still unrefined as of now. Assault mode still doesn't seem refined either. The top top 4, -1. First place, Sorcery Conduit Invoked. What happened here is Magellanic has been pushed out, so Magellanic is just in the sideboard with an Econ, and this deck decides to use 2 Treacherous Trap Hole in its place. Of course, as I mentioned, Purgatrio does all the work, and with Element Sabers being the archetype where you could change the elements to fire really easily, why not run as many Purgatrio as you want? Because they also get buffs from the field spell. So, it's a pretty stable core here. 3 Alistair, 3 Malehu, 1 Malo, 1 Nalu, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Invocation, 3 Palace of the Elemental Lords, 2 Paleozoic Canidia, and 2 Treacherous Trap Hole. Second place, Zeta, Sealed Tombs, Black Wings. So the nerf to Rakiri the Rain Shower, one copy of that, and then they put the other semi-limited card as Treacherous Trap Hole. Otherwise, a lot of the same stuff. 3 Simoon, 2 Bora, 2 Gale, 1 Pinaki, 3 Chris, 1 Orochi, 2 Black Whirlwind, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Offerings to the Doomed. And the one different card here is a quick play Swallow's Nest. Helps you cheat out a monster for that extra attack. Third place, Carefree Pair, Sorcery Conduit, Element Saber Invoked. Very similar to the first deck. They have some Sphere Karibos though. The same array of monsters. They have Forbidden Chalice. They cut Paleozoic Canidia, it seems. They have Magellanica in the main sideboard. And the main extra deck with a Treacherous Trap Hole, so that's how you split the 2 2s. They also have Mud Dragon of the Swamp in the Fusion deck, which works out. You just need 2 monsters of the same attribute. So Alistair and Element Saber Malehu, they work together. Card. Another monster you could change attributes. I guess it fits in with the archetype. Third place, Jason, Sorcery Conduit, Element Saber Invoked. Again, same deck as the first one. They cut a Nalu for something else. They added Floodgate. I think that's the only difference. So this version, running Treacherous Trap Hole seems pretty good. I guess, yeah, they all rely on Purgatrio, so I can't even play these decks. So that is woe for me still. So Duel Links Meta tier list update. You have your top 3 decks. So first, tier 1 Element Sabers, a really strong control deck. They still have the power of Invoked if you can afford it, and Purgatrio, of course. Tier 2 Black Wings and Dark Lords, still very strong options you see in the meta. Both these Black Wings end the game still pretty fast. The nerf didn't really do anything to that regard. And Dark Lords, a little slower. They could grind you out, but then they have really strong beat sticks that could just end the game there too. Tier 3, Ritual Beasts and Cristrons. Cristrons have come back on the tier list. Very unstable place. They say Coxidus getting nerfed helped them get back on the tier list because they're all water monsters, but we'll see if they really do show up. But I have seen them a bit in the KC Cup, but I don't know about recently in these the team duel thing. I don't know. Wakimeru has been put in high potential. Of course, it was a really good OTK deck in its time. Now that the nerf is pretty much over for them, they get put into this high potential list. And then the other Invoke decks, which is pure Invoked and Voids, have been cut. The semi-limit to Concentrating Current plus Magellanica is pretty much their main Raison d'etre is over. So that is it for them. There's no denying it. I'm not going to try to make this deck work anymore. It's just a nerf to the ground, and without Purgatrio, it's going to be tough to go And of course, I want to play Element Sabers, but they're just a bit too slow for me, as I mentioned. First, I'm going to touch off on the podcast question of the week. Will you be buying the MiniBOX Soul of Resurrection? 16% said yes, I'm a whale. 32% said yes, the cards are too good. 26% said no, I can't afford it. And 26% said no, I don't need the cards. I suppose I would fall into... I bought half of the box, so I'm somewhere in between. Cards are too good, or I can't afford it. Personally, I like playing zombies a lot, so that's why I would play the deck, but I do need a new deck to play. Unfortunately, the schedule they released these cards, the last few boxes, plus that mini box of Assault Mode, which I spent money on, and gems on, really did a number on me, and I really need to start saving again. I can't afford anything. I suppose I have to go back into this. I'm using my gems to build this mini box up slowly, but it's going to be, like building up 500 gems and spending them nonstop. Probably for at least the next month. So we'll see how long it takes me to actually build one of these decks. The thing is, the SRs and the URs are pretty much the same, so your reset path is pretty much the same. There's no judging on whether you get 2 SRs and then you reset. They're all the same here. So let's finally talk about the new MiniBOX Soul of Resurrection. As I just mentioned, the URs and the SRs have the same equivalency, pull chance in the box, and then there's some R's and N's. Mainly 2 archetypes in this box, but there are a lot of other useful cards that just support cards and decks and archetypes generally, so let's get into it. First UR is Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon, level 8 Dragon Fusion, involves 2 zombies, 3000 attack, 0 defense. Must be fusion summoned. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battle with this card. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles a monster that has an original level, that monster's attack becomes 0. Also, if that monster is still face up on the field, special summon a Dark Soul token that has attack and defense equal to the level and attack of that monster. You can only control 1 Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. Interesting card. This is the first time we're interacting dragons and zombies together. Very easy fusion requirements of 2 zombie monsters. And what it does is it leaves the monster on the board, so you hit it, their attack becomes 0, and they don't get destroyed. What it does do is it keeps that token up so you can hit them again and pretty much end the game right there. Actually, you don't end the game right there. This card hits that monster. Nothing happens, but that monster's attack becomes 0. And then you spawn the token, which has their attack, the mirror attack, and then you hit them for that damage. So, quite a bit of damage if you're running it in a big monster. Dragon's Mirror works. You'll have to fit in polymerization for this. Typically, it would be a zombie deck. Let's say you're playing vampires, and then you just fit in polymerization. So, that's how it would work. Dragon's Mirror works too. You could fusion summon a dragon monster by using cards in the field and the graveyard, so it's a little more flexible. If you do have a copy of Dragon's Mirror, you could just fit that into your zombie deck, and then you could get this guy out. What it does do is it makes it susceptible to Wall of D, so you have 2 monsters in attack mode. You have this guy and that token, and they get hit into Wall of D. That's 1600 off for each monster. So that is what is weak about this card. Really, it's just the dragon type doesn't matter. If you're playing a zombie deck, you probably have a zombie field. If you're playing Bones, you'll have a zombie field. If you're playing Vampires, you'll have the Vampire field. So it loses the power bonus, but 3000 attack is still pretty solid. It's just an addition for zombie decks. That's all I have to say. So it's not the most important card, but just an extra deck option that gives zombies some flexibility. Very aggressive card, too. Despite it not being able to destroy monsters, it definitely opens up a lot of OTK potential, probably. Here's the main Synchro monster for the Shiranui archetype. Shiranui Squire Saga, level 7, Zombie Synchro Fire. Any generic tuning requirements, 2100 attack, 0 defense. You can special summon Shiranui Squire Saga once per turn. Once per turn, banish a face-up monster you control or in the graveyard, then apply these effects in sequence depending on what the monster was. If it's a zombie, you can have all monsters you control gain 300 attack. If it's a fire, you can destroy one spell or trap on the field. And if it's a synchro monster, you can destroy one monster on the field. So really, this boss monster for Shiranui isn't really for attacking. 2100 for level 7, not too impressive. But you gain 300 attack, so it's 24 with the zombie. Fire, you destroy a spell or trap. And synchro is a little extra because you would have to have a dead synchro monster. It's kind of late game. And getting 3 effects off is pretty strong. So typically you'll get 2 effects off, but zombie fire, that's still pretty good. 300 attack for everyone permanently, and you destroy a spell or trap. The problem, of course, with these monsters is they all have 0 defense. So you could chain your Paleozoicanedia, your Econ to this card when they destroy that spell or trap. The thing is you have to be quick with your timing because I have had this done to me where I waited for it to target and then it destroyed my back row without me activating it. So once her effect goes off, you have to chain her, flip her to 0 so she destroys your spell or trap after you have already activated it on her. So make sure you do that when you counter this card. Otherwise, fits very well with this archetype. I don't think this would be run in other zombie decks. Let's say you're playing Synchro Vampires. You probably won't run this card because you won't have the fire. Like, not everyone's playing Heavy Knight of Flame for the fire. All the vampires are dark, so... And even the Vendreads are all dark, so it wouldn't really make sense in the other archetypes that don't have fire attributes. The Shiranui do have fire attributes. And the Heavy Knight of Flame is just... he's just a guy who's around, so... this is only... While there are generic synchro requirements, well, let me think about this. This is a generic card. But let's say you get fire synchro without even zombies. Like, you could banish a card that's just a synchro fire, and you don't care about the zombie part. And it could work, so I take that back. This could work in other synchro decks. So as long as you have the late game synchro that's dead, and it is a fire attribute. So maybe this could see play in other decks, maybe not. The last UR is Raigeki Break. Very simple card. Trap card, discard 1 card, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. I have seen this as removal in Shiranui decks. Really, this is just an upgraded tribute to the Doomed. Same mechanic, discard 1, target, destroy, except this is a trap card, so it's a little slower. But you can hit the back row and or a monster, so there's an advantage here. I think it's going to fall out of the decks. It definitely is only going to be played in decks that want deck disposal. I could see it being an option in Vampires or something like that, where they like disposing their cards. Crystron, maybe. Crystron, they have their whole Transcendent Crystal skill just to start off with things in the graveyard. So this could be removal for Crystrons as well. You know, any deck that really wants that disposal, they feed off the disposal. So I could see this being played in those decks, but this target 1 and destroy mechanic was very weak when there was all these graveyard protections around with Neos Fusion and whatnot. If those types of graveyard fusions come back, or if monsters are immune to target or immune to destruction, this card's going to see less play. But right now we're in a meta where that is fine. This card can be fine right now in this meta. Let's move on to the SRs, which are pretty much the same thing as URs here. Vulcan the Divine, level 6 Beast Warrior Synchro Fire. No tuning requirements, 2000, 1600. If this card is synchro summoned, target 1 face-up card. You control and 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Return those to the hand, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same name as those cards returned. You can use this effect once per turn. I don't really get this card. You bounce a card from each side, so there's no advantage you just have this guy on the board, which is 2,000, I guess. Unless you're running a deck where you have continuous cards or a field card where you could just bounce it and then activate it again. I think there are better options in the level 6 slot. Like we got Brionic recently, which is a very good level 6. I think this would be an option if you're just running like a Beast Warrior or a Fire thing, where this is the right level 6 to use. But I see this being really niche. Yeah, or some deck where there's a lot of trap monsters, right? Because you just return that trap monster, you clear the monster on the board, that's fine, but otherwise I don't see us seeing a ton of play. Shiranui Solitaire, level 4 fire zombie, 500 attack, 0 defense. You can tribute 1 zombie monster, special summon 1 zombie tuner with 0 defense from your deck. If this card is banished, you can target 1 of your banished Shiranui monsters, except for Solitaire, or up to 2 if Shiranui style synthesis is on the field. Special summon them. You can use each effect once per turn. So this is one of the core cards for this archetype. This works with a few tuners from this box, the Spectral Swords specifically, or even Ghost Charon if you're using that card. Glow Up Bloom as well. So there are a few cards. Typically you're going to focus on Spectral Sword or Spectral Shade. And really what it is, this card doesn't deserve to be 4 stars. It's got 500 attack, 0 defense, right? This should be like a 1-star monster. But this 4 stars works great because Spectral Sword is level 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. Hey, what do you know? Shiranui have a level 6 Synchro monster. And then 4 plus 3 on the Spectral Shade. What do you know? They have a level 7 I just talked about. Squire Saga is a level 7. So the stars add up perfectly for those two. So this is a material where you just get a fast tuner straight from the deck. And then, furthermore, you get banished. You target 1 card, and then you special summon it. Or if the field spell's on, you get 2. So really, you could just get 2 synchro summons in 1 turn with this card. Very strong. These cards also have abilities that banish things, so it gets banished, and then you just get these get 2 synchro plays in 1 turn. Very core card. Shiranui Squire, level 4 zombie fire, 1500 attack, 0 defense. When this is normal summoned, you can special summon a Shiranui Spectral Sword from the hand or deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for zombies. If this is banished, you can draw 1 card, then discard 1. So this is an alternative to Solitaire. They could probably be in the same deck, but you could special summon the Spectral Sword monster from the hand or deck, probably from the deck. Again, level 4 plus 2 or 3 makes a 6 or 7, which works well with the archetype. So, these 2 cards are probably going to be used in conjunction as, fast materials that cheat out tuners from the deck. This one just has the advantage of that draw discard ability and then having 1500 attack, which is better than Solitaire. Solitaire is better at using the materials to make another synchro summon. Red Resonator, level 2 Fiend Tuner, 600, 200. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. When this card is special summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, gain life points equal to its attack. You can use this effect once per turn. Another fast synchro helper, you could get a level 5 or 6 fast if the red cards are in your hand. It's kind of like Junk Synchron. Sort of, except this is more hand, so hand is less good than deck or graveyard usually. So fast tuner for a level 5 or 6. Life point gain ability doesn't seem too applicable. You need to special summon this. I don't think we have UFO Turtle yet or something. There's probably another card that could cheat this out by now. We have all these floaters in the deck. So the life point gain isn't really too consequential. This is just tuner to hand. It's okay, but I think we have better, like the Shiranui cards. They just get them straight from the deck. This is from the hand, so it's a little worse. Obviously, this is a Resonator, so there might be some Resonator cards that help this down the line. And they specifically were kind of like Red Dragon Archfiend helpers, and traditionally with Jack Atlas. Here's a card that I've been talking about for a year or so, probably. And I've just been waiting for this card to come out. It's a card I owned in the TCG, and it's finally here. Mystic Tomato. Level 4, Dark Plant, 1400, 1100. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon a dark monster of 1500 or less from your deck and face up attack. So finally here, we have seen other, some of the other 6 cards come out. So, they're not coming to me, the names of the cards, but there was the Wind one, Flying Kamakiri 1. There was the Water one, Mother Grizzly. I don't think UF Turtle is out yet. We had Shining Angel for Light. Earth, Giant Rat. I don't know if we have Giant Rat, but anyhow, this is probably the best one. Right now, this destroyed by battle, sent to the graveyard, it's not the best. Even Serene Psychic Witch is better for Psychics because she is destroyed by effect works on her. These cards just destroyed by battle, so you could activate Treacherous, you could activate Shiranui's Banish ability or whatever. You could use something else, this won't trigger. But this just has tremendous upside, given that you can cheat out a 1500 Dark from your deck, and that's a lot of monsters. That's just a huge selection of cards. Really, one fit I see right now, I hate to say this, is Yubel decks. You could cheat out any of the advanced Yubel forms. You don't even need to run the original Yubel. So that Fire King strategy could be a bit different now with Mystic Tomato here. So, and they always relied on destroyed by battle. So like the Fire King Yakshas were always set to be destroyed by battle. So there's definitely more flexibility of Yubel. You don't have to use Yubel anymore. I think that you could use any character skill and then cheat it out from the deck. So that is one fit I see right away. Here's a chase card, Zombie Master, level 4 zombie, 1800 0. Once per turn, you can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, then target one level 4 or lower zombie in either player's graveyard, special summon it. This card must be face up on the field to resolve this effect. Super strong card right now, you could see it. As long as you have that card in your hand, send it to the graveyard, then you could just bring it right back. No disadvantage here. Just a 2-for-1 for free. A little situational, you have to have that zombie. It has to be level 4, you build your deck with all level 4s. And then you just special summon it. When you're playing Zombie World, though, we have 3 copies of Zombie World. You could basically just steal your opponent's monsters because they're all zombies in the graveyard. So you could just steal them. So, very strong card. And not only stealing them, you're basically just, you have a free sealed tombs or whatever, you basically just lock them out. So you're playing with 2 dual skills. I see this card just fitting in any zombie deck. I could try to fit this into vampires whenever I get this. It could probably replace Gozuki, frankly. You could just get your familiar or your retainer, and you get that playoff. Or even Plague Spreader, you could just set that into the graveyard. So this is definitely going to fit into a lot of zombie decks. Jester Confit, level 1 Dark Spellcaster 0/0. You can only control one Jester Confit. You can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. If summoned this way, during your opponent's next end phase, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Return both that target and this face-up card to the hand. This is a tricky card because you ramp it onto the field, and then it has to survive 2 full turns. Actually, it's just 1 turn. It survives that 1 turn, your opponent's next end phase. So they have to get through their turn with this card surviving. And what it does is it locks them out because the monster gets targeted late. Let's say they get off some big synchro play, you counter it, and then you just send it back to the hand. So I guess this has some stall potential, actually. I thought this was just a ramp card because it could just be a ramp card. You special summon it and you tribute it. So this is ramp. But then it also has this extra lockdown ability, which is actually solid. I just immediately discounted this card, but here it is. This card works fine with Megamorph because what this disadvantage is, if let's say you use Paleozoic Canada, you use Floodgate as stall, they're going to be face down and you can't bounce them. They have to be face up, so Megamorph works, Econ works, Curse of Anubis works, Windstorm works, any of those cards. Even those like Spirit Barrier or whatever, Relink Karibo. I'm trying to think of other cards, but this is a stall card. Assault Mode 0, quick play. Tribute one Synchro Monster special summon from your hand, one Assault Mode monster whose name includes the tributed monsters. During your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard, set one Assault Mode activate directly from your hand or deck. Also, it can be activated this turn. You can use each effect of Assault Mode 0 once per turn. This is a companion card for Assault Mode activate. That is a trap card where you special summon the card from the deck. This is a quick play where the monster has to be in your hand. So sometimes you're playing Assault Mode, this card didn't exist, and then that upgraded monster was already in your hand, and you're screwed because you can't do anything with the trap card. You just use it for Side Reflector. This one makes use of the card, so you can get your Assault Mode out, and then you could tutor out Assault Mode activate. So there is anti-synergy with Side Reflector, but it's just for the overall archetype. And really, this is a quick play, so quick plays like to be played from the hand. You attack with your Synchro, quick play, summon, attack again. So this is more aggressive than Assault Mode activate. Here's another really good card for zombies, Book of Life, normal spell. Target one zombie in your graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon the first, banish the second. This is Monster Reborn on a zombie. It's Soul Release with Monster Reborn for zombies. That's all it is. And it's really good. As long as graveyard protections, graveyard strategies exist, this is a court card for zombies, I think. Zombies just don't even have to run Sealed Tombs anymore. They're just going to have multiple ways of punching monsters out of the opponent's graveyard. Very good card. And finally, Dragon's Mirror, a normal spell. Fusion, summon one Dragon Fusion from your extra deck, banishing fusion materials listed from your field or graveyard. This is polymerization for zombies, for dragons, field or graveyard. So graveyard allows grass is greener. So there are some big dragons, like a 5-headed dragon. It's kind of like a one-turn kill card. And then you could just grass them and then play those cards. This also is really good for the UR Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon, because it allows your zombie decks to have that extra flexibility. They're probably going to be in the graveyard anyway, so you could just use Dragon's Mirror to help out. So those are all the URs and SRs of this box. Let's get into the specific two main archetypes. Talk about the Shiranui archetype. Shiranui Shogun Saga, level 8 zombie. Involves a zombie tuner and zombie non-tuners. 3000 0. When this is special summoned, banish a zombie from your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of the turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, target one of your banished zombies with 0 defense, return it to the graveyard. You can only special summon this monster once per turn. So, very good synergy with Solitaire. You banish that card, and then you make this card 3500 0. You special summon with those monsters with Solitaire's ability. And then this card gets destroyed, and then you could recycle Solitaire, and then you could just banish him again. So there's definitely a lot of archetype synergy with these two cards. Other than that, this is a level 8, 3000 0. These cards are all really good, but they just have 0 defense, which is their undoing. Shiranui Sun Saga, level 10 zombie synchro, zombie tuner, zombie non-tuners. If this card is special summoned, return any number of your zombie synchro monsters that are banished or in your graveyard to the extra deck. Then you can destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards returned. If a zombie monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead. You can special summon this card once per turn. This is very, very late game. It's level 10, first of all, and these monsters don't seem to have a way to modulate their levels, so it's kind of like, how easy is it to get a level 10 out? It is late game, you recycle. The whole point of this card is to recycle dead synchro monsters. So you recycle them, and then you destroyed your opponent's board in the process. It being a level 10, though, doesn't make me think this is a core part of the strategy. It's just a late game comeback where you just have an ace in the hole to win the game. Shiranui Spectral Sword. Level 2 Zombie Tuner, 800 attack, 0 defense. When this is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, target one non-tuner zombie in your graveyard, banish both it and this card. If you do, special summon a zombie synchro monster from your extra deck, whose level equals the total level of those two monsters. This is perfect with Solitaire. So, you synchro for this, use this as a tuner, you get your guy out, and then you basically have another synchro option with this and Solitaire. This banishes Solitaire, and then Solitaire can get more materials on the board. So it's just an unlimited replenishing of monsters, basically, for synchro plays. Shiranui Spirit Monks, Master, level 4, Zombie, 1500 0. When this is normal summon, special summon one Shiranui from your hand or graveyard, except for this one, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is banished, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can use this effect once per turn. This is another level 4 to compete with the other ones, Solitaire and Squire. Probably you'll see all of them in conjunction. This is one I'm seeing a lot, actually. And this has some control ability because you're destroying a face-up card. Yeah, so it's another level 4 to work with that. And it's 1500 too, so it's basically competing with Squire. Shiranui Samurai, level 4 zombie, 1800 0. During either player's turn, banish a zombie from your graveyard. This card gains 600 attack. If it does, banish any monster that battled this card after damage calculation. These effects last until the end of the turn. If this is banished, you can target one Shiranui monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So this one's not really good for synchro summoning, which makes it like on the outside looking in. You can banish Solitaire though, turn it into 2400, who can banish cards. It's kind of like HTS Sihemith, which is not bad. And then you could let Solitaire have his effects go off and synchro summon stuff. So there could be that play where you want this aggressive card on the board and to trigger those effects. Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade, level 3 Zombie Tuner, 800 0. You contribute this card, then target 2 of your banished zombie monsters, including Shiranui, except for Shiranui Spectral Sword of Sunset. Special summon them in defense mode. They have no effects. Yeah. This is less good than the level 2, but still useful for making the level 7, so it's there for a reason, for its stars. Otherwise, you could recycle your banished monsters to another synchro summon, so Solitaire is probably going to be banished, you could recycle him, so it's pretty good still. Shiranui Style Synthesis Field Spell once per turn. If you control no monsters, send a card from your hand to the graveyard, then activate one of these effects. Target one zombie monster of 0 defense in your graveyard, special summon it. Target one of your banished zombie type monsters with 0 defense and return it to the graveyard. So, this is, I don't know if this is core for the archetype, but it helps prevent breaking, I guess. You just get those abilities off. I think this frankly works better with vampires, but they already have Vampire Kingdom. And there's nothing that makes this not work with vampires, so I don't know. Vampires do have grace, and they have to destroy stuff with grace, so that's where this is the downfall, but this works really well with vampires too. Let's look at the other cards, 2 other ones. This is the main thing you'll synchro summon. Shiranui Samurai Saga level 6 Zombie Tuner, Zombie non-tuners, 2500 attack, 0 defense. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target one of your banished zombies, shuffle it into the deck. If you do, change to defense position all monsters your opponent controls with attack or less than equal to that monster's. If this card is banished, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, it loses 500 attack. You can special summon this card once per turn. With the math, this one works commonly because it's only 4+2, so this is probably going to be coming out most of the time. It's not the most impressive card. The ability where you switch things into defense mode is very situational, And then this card needs to be banished for the ability to go off to make them lose attack. It's not the worst for a level 6. It could gain more attack. And this is probably just setting up for another, to turn this into material as well for the level 8 or the level 10 monsters. But this is just played a lot just for being a level 6. Finally, Shiranui Smith, level 4, Zombie 1000. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard as synchro material, you can add a Shiranui card from the deck to your hand, except for this one. You can use this effect once per turn. If this is banished, zombies cannot be destroyed by battle. So this is probably not going to be played. It's a non-tuner. It gives you your Sky's protection. Maybe it's a toolbox. Maybe Shiranui level 4s are all a toolbox. You run one of each. And then, depending on what you want to do, you play certain ones. I think that's how it will go. Let's move on to Assault mode. So, Assault, Doom Kaiser Dragon, Assault mode, level 8, Fire Zombie, 2900, 2000. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned with Assault mode activate. Wait, can you use Assault mode 0? I don't know. When this card is special summon any number of zombie monsters from either player's graveyard to your side of the field. Those monsters' effects are negated, and they are destroyed during the end phase. When this card is destroyed, special summon Doom Kaiser Dragon from your graveyard. So this is... Doom Kaiser involves Plague Spreader as the tuner, and there's some anti-synergy with Psy Reflector's engine in Assault mode here, but this is just specifically a combo with Zombie World. So you have to play those 3 copies of Zombie World for this card to work at all. I think it's a little much to expect this to be a deck, but it's more fun than good, I think. Here's Arcanite Magician Assault mode. Level 9 Spellcaster, 900 attack, 2300 defense. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned with Assault mode activate. When this card is special summoned, place 2 spell counters on it. It gains 1000 attack for each spell counter, so 2900. You can remove 2 spell counters from this card, destroy all cards your opponent controls. When this card on the field is destroyed, special summon Arcanite Magician from your graveyard. Very strong control potential here. This is a new board nuke. Normally it was Black Rose Dragon, where you just blew up the whole board. This one protects itself, and also your side of the field, so you have your back row safe. So it's very strong. And then it has 900 attack, which is not nothing. There's a threshold where it's like 500 attacks nothing, but 900 attacks close to 1000. So it could hit for some damage. And then when it's destroyed, you have Arcanite Magician, which has those 2 counters to destroy cards itself. So a lot of control here to just clear your opponent's board slowly. Hyper Psychic Riser Assault mode. Hyper Psychic Blaster Assault mode. Level 11 Psychic, 3500, 3000. Must be special summoned with Assault mode activate. When this battles a monster, inflict damage, piercing, gain life points from that piercing damage. When this card is destroyed, special summon Hyper Psychic Blaster from your graveyard. This is the least impressive one, but it does have 3500 attack. It's just getting all those stars on the board for Hyper Psychic Blaster and then the trap card for this one. So it's a little clunky. Arcane Apprentice, level 2 Spellcaster, tuner 1400. When this is sent from the graveyard for Synchro Summon, add Assault mode activate from your deck to your hand. So all of these cards are kind of like cheap versions of Psy Reflector because they do have those abilities to help you tutor the cards. This is a level 2 tuner. I could see this working with the Arcanite Magician because you play this card and then you special summon the Tricky, which is level 5. And then you get Arcanite Magician. This gives you Assault mode activate, so then you could get your Arcanite Magician Assault mode ready for the next turn. So this has some use. I think it's specifically for that use. You could just get 2 and 5 and it just works out great. It also looks like Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. Assault Mercenary, level 4 Warrior, 1800, 300, once per turn. You can return Assault mode activate from your hand to graveyard to the deck. Destroy 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. Another support card for Assault mode. The deck typically doesn't use Cosmic Cyclone. Well, they do. They use it for life point activation, I guess. For dual skill activations. I guess this does return it from the graveyard, so you do recycle it, and then you could abuse abilities like the other Assault card, Assault Beast, to help get the card back. Nightwing Sorceress, level 3 spellcaster, 1300, 1200. You can activate Assault Mode, activate the turn it is set. So this card lets you work around Assault Mode activate being a trap card. The problem is this card has to be like on the board, and the other guy has to be on the board too, so it's like an extra monster. But this is a 1300 wind where you could cheat it out with a Flying Karmakiri or something else of that matter. Assault Teleport spell card. Return one Assault Mode monster from your hand to the deck. Draw 2 cards. This is better than I thought it was because I thought the monster had to be on the board. So it's from your hand to your deck. So it gets around bricking, I guess. That comes with it sometimes. Okay, it's not that bad. Assault Revival, quick play spell. Remove from play one Assault Mode. Activate from your graveyard. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Special summon an Assault monster from your graveyard. Its effects are negated. When this is removed from the field, remove it from play. Not very good card. You just have a beater. It's just for the Hyper Psychic Blaster, I guess. And finally, Assault Slash trap card. Activate when you have an Assault Mode monster. Destroy all face-up monsters on the field. This is not bad against a full board like Black Wings, but probably you'll be behind already, and you have to have had that Assault Mode monster on the board, so it's a lot of setup, and then they have to be face-up. So it's very situational. 2 other notable cards. Ghost Charon, the Underworld Boatman, level 2 zombie tuner, 500 attack, 0 defense. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no other monsters, you can target one fusion monster in your graveyard, banish this card from the field and that target. If you do, special summon a Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck, whose level equals these 2 monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except for dragon monsters. So this is the other zombie that has dragon synergy with the deck with the first card, Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. So they're both zombie dragon guys. And this works out well with that card because you could turn that level 8 plus 2 into a level 10. There's a level 10 here. Where's Ascension Sky Dragon? That's a level 10. So you could play that card if you want to. This is just notable because it's a 1-card synchro play. That's all it is. And whenever a card is that efficient, you just have to mention that card. This could be an archetype. I think it could be some kind of dragon synchro archetype, and this would just be in it. And Jester Lord, level 1 spellcaster, 0 attack, 0 defense. While this is the only monster on the field, it gains 1,000 attack for each card in the spell or trap zones. So this archetype is a direct attacking archetype, and the power depends on set traps and spells. Of course, the problem here is the more cards your opponent has in the back row, the better they counter this card. So there's a give or take there. That is it for this box. Obviously, you would buy this card for Shiranui if they make it into the meta, or even Assault Mode support. So there's 2 new cards from the Duel Carnival, which is, frankly, the Duel Carnival is a better PvP matching system than Ranked. I've seen this. I've got some really epic battles in PvP. Just non-stop countering of plays, fighting till the last turn, waiting to deck your opponent out. It's just very, very epic duels. And this Duel Carnival matchmaking system, where they have, your good contributor, your average contributor, your low contributor, it's just better than PvP. I feel like the duels I'm getting here are more worth it. They're better than Ranked. Anyhow, 2 Jester cards that are new. Jester's Panic spell card. Target 1 set card in your opponent's spell or trap zone. Look at that card. Then you could reveal 1 card in your hand of the same type. Destroy that target. If you do, all level 2 or lower spellcasters can attack your opponent directly this turn. So, you don't actually have to guess Spell Trap. I said you have to guess Spell Trap, but you just have to have the Spell Trap in your hand. So you run a deck with a lot of spells and traps. You probably will destroy that card, and then they can attack directly. So it could be solid, but you have to have your monsters ready too. It's a little situational in that regard. But you are guaranteed to destroy a spell or trap with this card. Finally, Jester Queen, level 2, Spellcaster 800. When this is normal summoned or special summoned, destroy all cards in your spell or trap zone. If you control no other monsters, this card can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of cards in your spell or trap zone. So, this can hit for 2400. You have to have 3 cards set though, so it's kind of situational there, but it does allow your Jester Lord to attack directly too. These cards could work okay with something like Anti-Magic Arrows, where they have those cards set and then you just activate it and you're golden. So I'm sure I'll see some kind of you'll face this on the ladder every so often, but they'll probably lose type situation, or they'll steal a game from you every so often, I think. And let's get to Duel Quest. So Duel Quest went on last week, and we get one new card that is Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress. I don't have the card pulled up, but I'm pretty sure I know its abilities. It's level 4, 800 attack, 2200 defense. I think it's an Earth machine. I'm not sure if it's a rock or a machine, but basically you pay 800 life points, and then you get to attack directly. I think that's the ability. So this card can actually be busted if we had limiter removal. You play Shield and Sword, 2200, limiter removal, 4400, direct attacker. We don't have limiter removal, so this card's not busted. Right now it's just a 2200 defender, which is pretty much the highest it could be for a level 4. That's okay for Duel Links because you could just banish or effect destroy this card, and then it doesn't even matter how much defense you have. So right now it's just a defender. It could sneak in some play for some kind of burn stall because it has that upside of attacking directly. And then you could buff it, not with limiter removal, but you could buff it with something, and then it hits pretty good. So I don't know, maybe what's that card that buffs it by 1,000? I don't remember, but there's various equip spells and Shield and Sword to help this card hit for something, but we're only getting one copy, I think, right now. So, due to time considerations, I think I will have to punt Rex Goodwin's cards and skills again. I think I should have time next week because we shouldn't be getting a new box by then. I think Konami is not gonna screw us over again, but anyways, fresh off an email, here is Doug Dimmaduel with his casual deck of the week. This week he has Labyrinth Builder Batteryman. Batteries not included, so I have not listened to this because it's fresh off the presses, and I'm recording right now, so I cannot listen to it, but it's all a surprise. I'm pretty sure it's cool. Here's Doug Dimmaduel's Labyrinth Builder Battery deck.
Hey there, this is Doug Dimmaduel with Doug's Casual Deck of the Week. This week we got a brand new box, so in, my typical fashion, I'm not going to talk about a single deck or single archetype from the new box. Instead, we're going to go back to some old school stuff, well, not too old school, but more recent, but not the most recent box. We're going back to Batteryman. Oh yeah, Batteryman archetype. It's still kind of competitive and still King of Games worthy. I've been having a lot of success with this in a competitive standpoint, as well as obviously in a casual setting. But I want to just kind of go through some of the minor nuances of this deck. It's a very straightforward, very simplistic strategy, but an effective one. And it really revolves around getting your Batteryman fuel cell out. If you remember, Battery Fuel Cell is the one where if you control 2 or more Batteryman monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you could destroy one Batteryman you control to send one card your opponent controls back to their hand. So regardless, I mean, that's really the whole effective thing. It's a OTK. You either want to go second, or either in your second or third turn, you could try and just go for game that way. It's just a really, really effective method. But as far as what skill makes this deck a lot more consistent is Labyrinth Builder. Now, this is a Paradox Brothers exclusive skill, so if you don't have the Paradox Brothers, you got to try and unlock them. But what you do is you shuffle 2 cards from your hand back into your deck, and you put the Labyrinth Wall with 3,000 defense on your field. You only need 1 monster for a tribute summon, and that gets any of your other monsters out onto the field. But really, the one you want to try and go for is Batteryman Charger. So the play is to tribute summon Battery Charger, special summon your Batteryman 9-volt, because what it does, whenever you tribute summon your Batteryman Charger, you're able to special summon 1 Batteryman monster from your deck. And it also gains 300 attack and defense for each Thunder-type monster you control. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to tribute summon for Batteryman Charger, special summon your Batteryman 9-volt out of your deck. This is the level 4 Batteryman monster with 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. Whenever this card's summoned, either normal or special summon, does not matter, you can add 1 Batteryman monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, this card's attack and defense become double its original attack and defense, and then during your end phase, destroy this card. Doesn't really matter, because basically all you're going to be searching out is your Batteryman Fuel Cell, or maybe your Batteryman Industrial Strength if you're late in the game and you just want to make a quick special summon. You could go for that route, but you're going to basically special summon your Batteryman Fuel Cell, pop your Batteryman 9-volt, send a card back to your opponent's hand, and hopefully go for an OTK. You do run 1 copy of Batteryman Industrial Strength. It can only be special summoned by removing 2 Batteryman monsters from your graveyard. You could remove 1 more Thunder-type monster from your graveyard to destroy 1 spell and 1 spell or trap and 1 monster on the field. It's just really effective. And then you just run your 3 copies of Batteryman Micro Cell. Hopefully, if you go first, you can open with this card and set it. When it's flipped, you special summon 1 level 4 or lower Batteryman monster from your deck. After this card has been flipped up, when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you draw 1 card. So what is going on as far as the rest of the deck? I run 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, because this is basically the industry standard now. We run Cosmic Cyclone. On top of that, I run 3 copies of Powerful Rebirth. You see, we have a lot of Batteryman cards that are ending up in the graveyard. In particularly, Batteryman 9-volt ends up in the graveyard quite a bit. So you're able to resummon onto the field and reactivate its effect and search out everything you need. But then, just for good measure, I'll run my 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. So when your opponent summons a monster, change that monster to face down defense position, and it cannot change its position after that. So, Powerful Rebirth, again, it's just a great card too. You're just able to take a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard and special summon it. Increases level by 1, and increases attack and defense by 100 points. Not a big deal, but really, again, it's just to try and get your plays going with Batteryman 9-volt. This card was really a game changer, and through the use of the Labyrinth Builder skill, putting a card on the field that allows the opportunity to be tribute summoned over, that just adds a completely new level of consistency. So again, just to reiterate, the strategy is really just to tribute summon for your Batteryman Charger, get your Batteryman 9-volt on the field, and then search out your Batteryman Fuel Cell, special summoning it onto the field, and sending a monster back to your opponent's hand, swinging for game with your Batteryman Fuel Cell plus your Batteryman Charger. That's all there is to it. And in the process, maybe you got a Cosmic Cyclone in your hand to blow up some back row and banish. That way you could get rid of any threats on the field between your Batteryman combo and then your back row removal. But all in all, this deck is actually very, very effective. So I know everybody's getting excited about the new archetypes, next week I'll probably do a discussion on some of that stuff. In fact, I like the fact that we have Mystic Tomato in the game finally. I know we've seen NPC characters using Mystic Tomato, but I'm building a deck around that. I may or may not do something next week with that Mystic Tomato and seeing how it's utilized with some older archetypes that we've really needed an extra piece for. But anyway, I'm not going to try and tease you anymore. But anyway, that's it for this week's Casual Deck of the Week. I will see you next time. Take care.
All right, thanks, Doug. You can check him out on this podcast every week. Check out his Yu-Gi-Oh! His Twitter account, Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Talk, for all of his decks, his ideas, his tweets on Yu-Gi-Oh! So that is it for this week's episode. Upcoming news, Blair Flanagan is confirmed. She's all over Duel Links meta, her cards and her pictures, they're all there. We will see her for the first time. We'll probably get to acquire her next time. Dark Signer Carly Carmine returns. New cards, new duel skill. That is a plus for me because I cannot play anything else other than Fortune Lady right now. Late December, Duelist Chronicles 5Ds. First Duelist Chronicles 4 5Ds. And then late December, Duel Circuit and Pilgrim of the Ice Barrier. And I think next week we will get to talk about Rex Goodwin. So finally, I could do that. So that is it. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can listen and subscribe to this podcast. Just search the Duel Assessment. Check out the notes at theduelassessment.wordpress.com. And you can find me on Twitter, duel_assessment, my own personal account at GreenRanger CCG. All right, thanks for everyone, and I will see you next week.